Hello everyone and welcome to Werven's World. Today I would like to give 5 basic tips for new players on Subnautica. Subnautica is a really cool underwater exploration crafting game where basically you have to craft a lot of stuff in order to survive underwater and be able to explore more, and it's really a fantastic game, so I thought I would give 5 tips for new players in order to get started. Tip number 1 is related to air. So at the beginning you can only breathe for 45 seconds or hold your breath for 45 seconds, which is not a whole lot. But of course you want to explore a lot of caves and stuff to find resources to craft things with. So for that Mother Nature has provided. So there are these corals here and they actually produce oxygen. So as you can see they produce bubbles, and if you're in those bubbles you will get air. There we go, they provide 10 seconds of air each, so now I'm full again. So now I can go into this cave, kind of explore a bit. Here's some quartz. Just go back again. And so on. So basically these corals really extend the time that you can be underwater, so you don't have to go to the surface all the time, because that would be very annoying. So yeah, those are very, very handy. Tip number 2 is don't get confused by these air sacs here. They look like they have a lot of air and they're even called air sacs, so if you pick them up, I really thought at the beginning that they would just give me more air, that I could kind of just hold them and swim around with them in order to have more air. However, this is not the case at all. Air sacs are very handy for if you play the mode where you have to eat and drink, then you can turn them into filtrated water, which is very useful, but they don't provide any oxygen whatsoever, so their name is a bit confusing. Tip number 3 is to not only look for loot on the ground. Like in many games, this game has tons of stuff to collect, but it's not only just located on the sea bottom. As you can see, often there will also be kind of outcrops against the walls. For example, there's one here, which are limestone deposits. You can click those a couple of times, and then in this case titanium fell out. But also, for example, copper can come out of there and stuff. So there's lots of stuff to collect, and it's not always, well, just lying there on the floor. So be sure to pay attention. Tip number 4 is related to storage space. So if you press tab, you can see your inventory, and it's made out of all these squares, and different things take different amount of space. For example, here my air tank takes 4 space, and so on. So if you want to store it, you can go back to your hab if you haven't really built anything else yet, and there you can actually build storage cubes. So these storage cubes you can open, and then you can add stuff in there. So basically if you press shift left mouse button, they automatically go to that section. So in order to build these storage cubes, you have to go to your fabricator, click on machines, and then click on small storage cube. So now in my case it immediately goes in my inventory. If your inventory is full, it won't go into your inventory, but it also won't go onto the floor. So then you first need to empty your inventory by pressing right mouse button on your items until you have enough space for a 4x4 item, and then you get the small storage cube in your inventory, and then you can drop it somewhere just by clicking right mouse button. You can't really move them as far as I know, so they're just kind of lying around, but at least then you have space to store your stuff in. So if you left click on them, you will pick them up, but if you left click on the top of them, on the green part, you can open them and then you can store stuff in them. And the last tip is about survival. So as you can see here, there's a lot of fish that you can catch, and in this game you need well, food and water. So now if I press F, I actually don't hold it anymore.
10 seconds of oxygen remaining.
And I'll just catch some fish to show you how to alleviate your hunger and water thirst. I'm absolutely terrible at catching them. So when you press F, you don't hold them anymore. Come on. There we go. I should never play first-person shooters. There we are. So, as you can see when I press tab, I've got a peeper, another peeper, an air sac and some salt. So if you go to your fabricator, so you don't need to make any kind of, I don't know, fire or a microwave or anything. Your fabricator is used to make food. I can already eat these things. So for example, this one would give me 10 food, minus 13 water, plus 20 food, minus 15 water, plus 20 food, minus 15 water. So actually by eating them I would lose water, which is not very nice. So
New creature discovered.
I can press survival, and then there's cooked and cured, and there's a difference between them. So cooked, I can just choose, for example, the peeper. And if you want to cure a fish, you also need salt, which I collected already. So I can make cured peeper. The biggest problem of cured is that it still drains water. So as you can see here, I get 32 food minus 2 water, while the cooked one gives me plus 32 food and plus 5 water, so I actually gain some water. And cured even took some salt, so in a sense it looks like it's really crappy. However, cured doesn't rot. So cooked peeper rots fairly soon, so if you really need food now, then it's better to cook them. But if you want to store up, then it's better to collect some salt and make some cured peeper, because that doesn't rot and you can eat it later. To eat them, you just press the left mouse button. There you go. As you can see, I'm still a bit thirsty, so I can use the fabricator, survival, water. Filtered water, and for that I need an air sac, which I have, that's that fish. There we go, now I've got filtered water, which gives me 15 water. There we go, so now I'm full on food and water again. So remember, air sacs are good for water, creep vine is also fairly good for water, and any fish you can cook or cure. I think the peepers actually give you the most food for fish, so those are good to catch, but they're also fairly hard to catch, at least for me. But yeah, so that's how you survive in this mode. So yeah, these were the 5 tips for new players. I hope you enjoyed them. They're very basic in a sense, but yeah, they're the tips that really helped me out when I started playing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful, and see you next time.